In this video we're going to see how you can use Postgres SQL to store your vector informations. Postgres SQL is offering a way to store your vector information in their database. Postgres SQL is known because it's an open source SQL relational database, but it's also offering an extension that can help you host your vectors inside the database. Postgres vector database, it's quite fast and it's easy to deploy in Docker. And with this tutorial, you will be able to host your vector database on Postgres. You will be able to access it with the PGadmin web UI, so you can see the details that are in the database. This is like an options to Pinecone, and if you want to host your vector database locally, so you have control and reduce your cost for the RAG applications that you are trying to build. And I have in here an article already written that it's going through the process of deploying PGvector database and PGadmin to a Docker container. The first thing that you should have is to have an VPS server where you can host these details. Of course, you can host these details on your local machine if you want. If you have like a Mac, you can install Docker in there and just host it there, or any virtual machine that you may have, it will work. You just need to have Docker installed in there. And in this tutorial, we are going to use a Docker Compose file, and we're going to use Docker to have this Docker Compose file used. And Docker is an UI that will help you manage easier the Docker Compose files. I already created a video with this. I will let a link in the description so you can try it. So in case you are looking for a VPS, you can try Hesner. This is offering very good VPSs at very good prices. I'm using it for a couple of years and it's having a very good performance. In here, for instance, you can see that they've just introduced a new Intel shared CPU. You can take one with 4 cores and 8 GB of RAM with about €8. So the prices are very good. I will let a link in the description comparing all of these options, but you can also choose an AMD or an ARM one if you want. It's up to you. For this purpose, I already have a VPS created, and we are going to check and install the PGvector, and we're going to go and load some vector data into the database. Let's go and check our compose file, because in here I have a compose file, and in here what we have the compose file that will have a host name. It will use the image from Uncanny PGvector. It will use the default port for Postgres. It will restart in case this is not stopped. We have some environment variables that we're going to use, the database, the user password. We have the volumes that will store the data. We have the health check that will tell us if the database it's up. And then we have the PGadmin. In here we are going to use their image for this. And again, in here I have the ports. Basically, you can use what port you want in here. Right now I'm just using this one, 5016. I've added these user details in here because I've seen without this the PGadmin doesn't do the configurations right. And in here you have the volumes with the configurations for this. So I have describing the details in here, all of these details. And then you have the environment file that we're going to use. In here you have the user and password. You have the PG default password and the default admin. So if you're deploying this on a subdomain and you want to access it over internet, to have like a way to authenticate and use that. And you can deploy also this with Docker Compose only. You just run this command with this Docker Compose file. So right now we are going to go and just fetch this Docker Compose file. And we are going to open the Docker installation in here, and in here I have the compose, and in here I will just put the PGvector name, and in here I will put the compose file. So basically this is a standalone installation. You can include these services also in an existing application if you already have one to communicate directly with it. But for this purpose, I just want to have a standalone installation because maybe I want to use it in more applications. That's why I will expose the port directly to the server, so you can be accessed from other application. If I want, I have Flowise in here, so we are going to check how we can use it to load the vector database with Flowise at the end. And right now I have the compose file added in here. You see that everything gets added. And the next thing that we are going to go and do is to go and add the environment details in here with the users some passwords for this. Okay. And in here you see that I've created a Postgres user with the username, the password is password. You can change this to be as secure as you want. In here I have the database, it's called the vector database, and in here are the login details for the PGadmin UI. And right now I will just going to save this. And right now the compose file is saved and it's inactive. We're just going to start it. And right now everything it will be fetched. And in here we will have the logs with the start of the application, the container, and the PGadmin. You can also access it if you want with directly the IP address of the VPS server and the port. Yeah, you may want to secure it. So like this, if you want to use it directly with the port, you can do that. With this, you just add your username in there. But for this purpose, I am using the Cloudflare tunnels, and I have already configured this in Doge in a previous video. And in here, we are just going to add a public hostname in here, and it will be called PGadmin. So we can access this securely. I'll put a domain, and in here you have the HTTPS, and in here you have the localhost with the port that we've chosen, 5016 for our PGadmin. And in here we can save the hostname, and this will create our subdomain where we can use this to access our PGadmin securely. Let me open this. And right now you see that the PGadmin can be accessed securely. In here I will put the address that I have added in the Docker Compose file, and in here I will put the PGpass, the password that I have set, and this will log in our PGadmin. And in here you have the server details. You can add a new one if you want, if you can create a new group. For instance, let's create a VPS one for my VPSs. And in here you need to add the connections to be able to connect to the database. Right now let's connect to the database. We'll just register a server. And in here you will assign a name, is PGvector. Server group, it will be the VPS one. In the connections you have the host name address, and because this sits in the same container with the database, we can use the host name for this. So let me copy that. Let me close this. And in here I will put the name. Maintenance database, I will let it Postgres. Username, it will be user, the one that I've set it in there, and the password, it will be pass. And I will just hit save password because this is a test environment. And right now you see that in the VPS you have the PGvector database where you are connected. We can open this, we can check the databases in here. You have the Postgres one and you have the vector one. And the vector one, it will be used to store our vectors in here. And in here you see that in schemas you will not have any tables by default. So you need to create a vector table and populate some data in here. And this UI, it will help you see exactly what you have in the database. And right now we're just going to move and see how we can add some data into this database. And in here I have Flowise installed. Also it's in a Docker container. This is basically an UI that can help you build chatbots, agents, and things like that easily. I have a flow in here that it's created already, and this is just to demonstrate you. I will create a full tutorial in the future that will show you how we can use. Basically what this thing is doing is just fetching the details from my website. So you see in here that I have the sitemap of this website, and in here I have some articles. And what this will do, it will go and parse these articles, and it will go and add them in the database. So in here you see that I have the OpenAI embeddings that we are going to use to go and insert these details into a Postgres database. So in here you see that, for instance, I have added a Postgres vector store and I've done the configuration. So in here you have all the vector stores that you can use, and you just drag and drop it. You have more vector store, and also you have the Postgres one in here that can be used. And this then it's linked to a conversational retrieval chain. It's using Grok chat to chat with this vector database. It has like a prompt in here that it's used to tell it what to do. So you see in here that it's using a prompt and it will tell it to use the documents that are stored in there. We're just going to test this and see. And in here for this connection, let me make this thing bigger. You'll see that, for instance, you have the connection credentials that you are going to add. Basically, you add your user and password. You have the host. Of this case, I'm using the server IP address. You have the database. You have the ports. And right now, you have all the details configured. And we'll hit save. And the first thing that we're going to do is to go and fetch all the details from all of these URLs and add them into our database. Let me move also this in here so you can better see. So right now let's go and populate this. So this will insert all the informations into the database. So right now it's just fetching the details from all the URL, it is splitting them and it's just inserting them into the database. And at the end we should be able to see the details. So you see that there were like 724 documents that have been added to the database, and this runs successfully. And right now, for instance, if you are going to go and check the PGadmin again, in here you've seen that in the tables you didn't have anything before. So let me refresh this. Okay, let's go and open the tables. I have a documents table in here, and if you are going to view the data, we are just going to view the first 100 rows. You will see that you have the table with the data in here. You have an ID, you have the page content for this with the chunks, and in here you have the metadata for this, and in here you have the embedding vectors for the chunks. So you have like a full database that it's working right now. And if you want to go and try this, we can do that. So for instance, let's go and ask this AI a question. Let's ask it how you can install WordPress in Docker, because I have an article written like this, how you can press in Docker. And this should go and fetch the details from my file. So you see in here that it is using the details from my file, and in here you have the link to the article if you want to open it. Of course, these details are based on what you're using. Right now I'm using Grok API for this, and you can even tell it, give me the compose file for installing WordPress in Docker. So you see in here that this is fetching the compose file that it's used for the article that I used. Even better for this, if you want, you can use the OpenAI chat, because it offers you better responses. If you want, I'm just trying to also to show you the Flowise interface so you can check in here. So let's open a chat model and see where it is. And in here I have the credential. In here you can choose the 40. Like this, you can put a different temperature to this, and then you can just link it to the Flowise conversational, then you save again, and then you will have the OpenAI chat that you can use. So let's clear this. We can ask them the same command, how you can install WordPress in Docker, provide the compose file also. So you see that it's offering you the details in here. Again, it will redirect you to the article. Again, this is not the compose file in this article, but you need to fine tune the prompts. So this to know exactly what to use. So yeah, in this way you are installing the PGvector in Docker, and you can start using a vector database locally easily. I hope you enjoyed the video. In case you liked what we have seen, please don't forget to like and subscribe.